Well, we're very limited on what we can do because the law's changed. We're very limited on what we can, and that's why I put the memo in. And that's why I really think maybe, and I'm not saying we wouldn't renew it, but I just think that we need public comment on the service, and I'm sure Steve could probably address a lot of things like he addressed my issue. And if you haven't looked at my memo on what we can and can't do, then I might suggest you really go through it.
When you say public comment, what are you referring to?
I think we need to invite the public. If we're renewing a franchise, Mayor, I think we need to, and I'm not saying we're not gonna do it or shouldn't do it, but I just think, in terms of the service and the channels and those kinds of things, I think we should give the public an opportunity to comment on it. And maybe do it at the next council meeting. And probably we won't get much comment. But I think the public should be given that opportunity.
Maybe Lisa can get a hold of that other cable company to come in and,
Well, that's gonna be apples and oranges.
yeah,
I mean,
they might want to discuss it.
their franchise rises on its own.
Right, I mean, and that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying, I'm just
No.
saying if it blocks somebody out, you know.
We can't block people out.
Okay, that was what my.
No, we can't block
was.
people
I
out.
didn't know if we had to do that or not.
What we can do, we can limit, that's the only thing we can do is limit the length of the franchise. 20 years is the max, but conduct the Constitution.
Would you care if I address that? I would like to just state that 5 years, as far as the money that we've invested in this infrastructure, it makes it hard to plan for 5 years. And I understand that. I understand you all have your goals that you want to accomplish here, and I understand that. But just to understand what we're coming from here is, we just invested, just right off the hip, we've invested about $400,000 in this city alone. And 5 years is not nearly enough commitment from the city to regain that. And I'd like to see some commitment from that, if you will. I mean, we're a small family. None of that comes from government money. That comes from loans. Those are long-term loans that in 5 years are not really going to cut it, and if we're doing the service like we promised, and like I think the proof is the last 20 years we've been here, I don't know, have you had much complaints?
Well, I don't really know that we have. And I'm not saying you shouldn't necessarily have 10 years, because I recognize that we have a financial commitment, those things have to be considered.
I understand.
That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is I think we need to have public input on it. And, council can do what they want.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this, but if the city signs this, that you're saying that doesn't mean that another company couldn't come in?
No, not anymore.
Okay.
You can't have exclusive franchises anymore.
And it does state that it's a non-exclusive agreement.
Yeah,
So if
no,
another
we
company
can't,
came, this wouldn't block them from coming?
no, we can't we can't, that won't block them out. You can't legally do that either.
That was my.
Maybe make a decision on whether we should renew them or not, because I think really we should give them a 10-year, renew their lease for 10 years, or their franchise. Usually when you put a business in, you spend a lot of money in it in 5 years, it's hard to get it back. You just can't do it. 5 years it'll go by real quick.
Got choice, they still have choice.
Yeah.
They've got them dishes all over the country.
Well, a dish wouldn't be direct competition.
No.
No, this is cable, so that would be direct competition. That was my only concern.
Well, really, there's not no competition now, and there's nobody really wanting to come in, and if the other business does want to come in, we can't stop them, they can't stop
So
them.
then what is the real purpose in the franchise agreement then?
Well, you just have to have a franchise to operate it.
Oh, okay.
That's what
The
you
state
done
pays-
that?
May I comment on that?
State pays us so much a year.
Okay.
It doesn't come from, like on cable anymore, it comes from the state.
They pay it
I
to the
think,
state.
if we're not doing our job, that's when you can intervene through, if I'm not mistaken, you can pull that franchise and kind of make us do what we need to do, but, you know, FCC kind of regulates us all. I mean, they do, and if you could kind of touch on that, Bud, I believe that we're kind of bound by FCC law, and we are you, and you all have a personal stake in it by, if I'm not doing my job as a LICOM manager, then that's where I think the city can intervene.
I want to say it's good evening to the mayor and city council members. And I want to thank Mayor Ted Preston, Code Enforcement Officer Corey Longstreet, and city council member Mrs. Rita Rose for getting the cleanup started in Louisa. Our city has an illness called depression. We, the city's citizens, and with the city government spearheading this campaign, we can turn this situation around. We can begin with our own property, keeping it neat and clean. We are a small city, and there is a rippling effect. When one neighborhood is trashed, it reflects on the whole community. It is no secret how many derelict houses and vacant businesses that exist in Louisa. These eyesores devalues the property of people who take pride in what they own. Nobody should be able to literally take money out of their neighbor's pockets. People who know real estate say property value is decreased by at least 10% under these conditions. And all I want and expect is for the city to support the ordinances they adopted last year and have postscript. If we all work together, we can be proud of our city again. And thank you for listening.
Thank you, Norita. Okay,
We have had a lot of issues with the ordinance because it's hard to enforce all the ordinances, because what you might think as being terrible, other people don't find as being terrible. So what we had is we had Corey's the one who's supposed to go out and give everyone a 30-day notice to clean it up. And then we were gonna set up a board of 3 individuals, and I don't know if that board ever got set up, to make the final decision whether a ticket should be issued. And I think we're still in the process of doing that. That might be why you might think things are being done. Things are being done. But it is good, you know, for all you did to bring that to focus. The other thing I want to talk about the ordinance, the last meeting we had a gentleman here complaining about noise, and he was going to be back here. Did you ever hear back from him, Kathy? Do you remember the gentleman brought in his whole family because of them pounding and doing construction at 4 in the morning?
yeah.
We were going to look into doing a noise ordinance violation. I was hoping he'd be here. So I don't know if we're gonna address that or raise that or deal with that since he's not here. But the ordinance laws can be fixed and moved and monitored. So if people do have issues, you should come in and explain them to us. Obviously, we can't do everything, you know,
Well,
but
the thing of the matter is, you know, you can't, everybody, there has to be some guidelines.
right, that's what
You know,
they are.
If somebody has a blue chair on their porch and somebody else doesn't like it, that's
Right.
ridiculous.
Right.
You know, you gotta use common sense. And anybody knows trash when they see it.
Right. Well, just so you know, the building right across the street from here, the one with all the
Exactly.
broken glasses, Gloria has pointed that out to the Corey several times, and Corey says that's not a violation.
With
So-
broken glass?
Yeah, I know. So we have to, just so you know, there's other people that say things too and things aren't done either. So I know we're gonna try to adjust that, so that is part of a violation, because obviously that's scary with the broken glass and anyone can hurt themselves.
The ordinance covers that.
It does, it's not Corey's job though, it's the police job on that kind
Oh,
of
it's the
stuff.
police job on that one?
Yes, that violation is the ordinance of loud music.
We're
Oh,
not
I
Not
know
loud
about
music.
broken glass, so what allowed-
Broken glass.
Yeah, loud music is in here also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like I said, we all know that this city is in decay. You can't deny it. And if something isn't done, and I'm talking about the citizens, working with the city government, and with whomever property owners, we all have to be proud of the place we live in, and I'm not proud of Louisa anymore. And my neighborhood is a mess. okay? But it's a mess all over town.
Right, that's what I was gonna say,
And-
everywhere.
And it's just not acceptable. Why would it be acceptable? Can you tell me that?
No, that's why we have an ordinance. That's why you heard us say, I told you that Gloria's complained about the glass across the street. We have complained, there's issues that we've raised too, and they're just not being addressed
Well,
either.
they have to be addressed. This is why
Right.
I'm here, and there's no reason for it not to.
Right, and we're agreeing with you, that's why we amended the ordinance, that's why we tried to put someone else, 3 other people involved, who would actually issue the tickets. And I don't know if that board, has that board been set up, Bud?
Well, it's been set up, I think they were, as I remember, because we got so many boards, they were appointed, but there's several of them that have not come up to my office to be sworn in.
Do they know to do that?
My wife is not one of those, she's on the pool
Appointed, but I've
board.
not heard anything else.
Well, I don't know if she's come in or not, I don't know which one's which, but I've had those oaths sitting on my,
Carol Ward,
Table.
Phyllis Frazier, and
Let
William
them
Green.
know, and,
Right, 3 people.
and I don't know if they've all been sworn in or not, I haven't kept track of it, but I know we've got that board to be sworn in, and we also got the recreation board.
Right.
No, it wasn't for
appeal.
appeals, it wasn't for appeals.
What was it for?
No, it was intended that Corey was gonna give them notices, and then if she was gonna actually issue them a ticket, they were gonna go through that board. We were the final decision makers on appeals, the city council's the final decision maker on appeals.
Not now.
Now it's the board, really? Those
board.
3 people?
it's the board.
Okay, I'm
Board.
sorry, I'm corrected, sorry about that.
Well, how can we get that board to come in, Bud's office to get sworn in? If they don't wanna do anything, get somebody else.
Well, then we may have to just convert it back to the city council.
Yeah, but I can try to call them again and
Yeah, call me in if they want to do it.
ask them to set up a meeting to get things started.
Budget, James?